Trudeau censored the internet, then they banned half the guns. The trucker convoy was the last breath of freedom in their lungs. And the UK has fallen, getting woker every day. It's illegal immigrants throwing acid into faces. Protests and riots, COVID record inflation. The people lost their freedom, Great Britain lost its greatness. America to Europe, across the globe. Every country, every city, every neighborhood and home. It's infecting everything and everybody that we know, so just say it. Screw everything woke. Say it at the top of your lungs, don't let it go. Scream it out into the streets, I promise that you're not alone. Go ahead, say it with your chest way down deep in your soul, but just say it. Screw everything woke. Rise up, I can see your fire. You and me, we can burn what they built to the ground. Burn everything woke. Rise up, can't let them divide us. You and me, we can burn this woke world down. Burn everything woke. America is fallen, woke became a disease. They made trillions off of mandatory lethal vaccines. The anthem plays and half the country is still taking a knee. Blacks and whites fighting over whose life matters the least. And Canada has fallen, people can't afford to pay for food. The media's all liberal, it's nothing but the fake news. There's oil in the ground and pipelines they refuse to use. You're only heard if you're indigenous or LGBTQ. Australia has fallen, Ireland been up in flames. People rioting and dying, divided, fighting for change. And from Canada to Finland, Denmark back to USA, it's a woke world. That's what we're standing up against. America to Europe, across the globe. Every country, every city, every neighborhood and home. It's infecting everything and everybody that we know, so just say it. Screw everything woke. Say it at the top of your lungs, don't let it go. Scream it out into the streets, I promise that you're not alone. Go ahead, say it with your chest way down deep in your soul, but just say it. Screw everything woke. Rise up, I can see your fire. You and me, we can burn what they built to the ground. Burn everything woke. Rise up, can't let them divide us. You and me, we can burn this woke world down. Burn everything woke. The whole world's fallen to the globalist elite. They want one God, one leader, one currency. It's the cigarettes, the vaccines, the food that you eat. Either way, the deep state wants you 6 feet deep. Fill your headphones with music, reinforcing their beliefs, and replace your own thoughts with the lies on TV. It's a woke world, and we won't survive if we're asleep. So wake up before you rest in peace. Rise up, I can see your fire. You and me, we can burn what they built to the ground. Rise up, can't let them divide us. You and me, we can burn this woke world down. Burn everything woke. America has fallen, turned our men into women. Our billionaires get private islands where they're trafficking children. The flag is burning in the streets, we don't believe the politicians. We defunded the police and free speech has been restricted. And Canada has fallen, their dollar ain't worth a buck. If you misgender someone there, you're getting fined or locked up. Trudeau censored the internet, then they banned half the guns. The trucker convoy was the last breath of freedom in their lungs. And the UK has fallen, getting woker every day. It's illegal immigrants throwing acid into faces. Protests and riots, COVID record inflation. The people lost their freedom, Great Britain lost its greatness. America to Europe, across the globe. Every country, every city, every neighborhood and home. It's infecting everything and everybody that we know, so just say it. Screw everything woke. Say it at the top of your lungs, don't let it go.
Another wonderful weekend. So, we got the birth tourism fight happening all over again. We've got all sorts of news here on AI data centers and also some weird stuff happening across the country. So, let's, I guess, get into it. We got two absolutely wonderful guests on the show today. Chris, you can go ahead and put them on camera for everyone to see.
They can see them today.
Oh, you can see him on that camera.
Yeah, today I guess they got slightly adjusted, so all three of you are together.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we got Logachu over there on the far left, and we got frickin' Grogu right here with his favorite hot sauce in the whole world. in his left hand. Cannot wait to see Logachu's reaction when he tries that hot sauce for the first time. We'll see if we can get him. We'll see if we can get him to do it on the show.
Do what?
Logan, get some hot sauce. Get some of my favorite hot sauce on a chip. On a tortilla chip and try it.
Don't you have the one chip challenge?
I do have the one chip challenge, and I have yet to do the one chip challenge. I bought it in a 2-pack too, so I guess I gotta do it twice. What's worse, doing it the first time, not knowing what it's gonna be like, or doing it the second time, knowing you can't waste the money you spent on it?
Maybe you should have someone do it with you.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe we can have someone do it with me.
Yeah.
Did you see that video? I can't remember how long ago I saw it. This lady gets the one chip challenge, and it looks kind of like an extra spiced up Dorito chip.
Okay.
And she pulls it out and puts it in the Dorito chip bag, and her husband pulls it out, and he's like, "Oh, extra season," and just throws the whole thing in.
I might have seen that one. I've seen a couple.
Yeah, it was freaking hilarious. Yeah, I'll see if I can. I'll have, if I do the one chip challenge, I think we'll record it. I don't know if I'll do it live, but I'm pretty sure we'll record it though, because why not? I mean, once I get around to it, not if I do it, when I finally get around to doing it.
Yeah, but it might
We'll
age
probably
to get
record
hotter
it.
and hotter. You've already had it a couple months.
Hot sauces do that. I don't know about dry spices.
It's just an idea, just a warning out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about dry spices, if they actually have that kind of effect over time or not. But let's get into the news, though. So from the New York Post, we got this. Trump signs a new executive order to ban birth tourism after birthright citizenship defeat at Supreme Court. The Tim Pool on his show actually went into this pretty well. And I wish I remembered all the details. I didn't get around to doing enough research on this itself.
You
But
worked a lot.
What?
You worked a lot this week.
Yeah, I
that's
worked a
why.
lot this week. But from what I understand is the lawyers that he had involved in this basically dug through the original birthright citizenship question court case that they were where they were defeated, and used the language as it was written in that Supreme Court ruling to craft this new executive order to basically shield it against criticism from the Supreme Court. And if the Supreme Court hears it, which they probably will, because there are all those same groups that challenged the first one are going to challenge this one in court, and it's gonna get appealed, and it's gonna go to the Supreme Court. And if anything, it'll force them to address the very issues itself of people using our citizenship as a commodity. Because that's what's being done, and that's something Trump got into. The Post here puts it fairly well, but there's some liberal bias built into some of the argument here. If you want to go read their article, you can. Was there anything on the article you thought you wanted to point out, babe?
No, it's just mainly pointing out that people are coming here, and as Trump just said, people are building businesses around it. Wealthy people are building businesses around birthright citizenship. That's not the way it's supposed to work. It's a disgrace. They're buying their way in, and we're not going to let that happen.
Yeah. I guess a valid criticism of the executive order, though, is when it comes to actually defining birth tourism, when they're coming here for the purpose of actually just bringing kids and bringing people in to have them give birth here, like, and actually identifying who's actually doing that intentionally and who's not doing that intentionally, just like under the circumstances they ended up actually giving birth here. But yeah, honestly, it's like, I don't think it really matters. I don't think anyone, if they're coming to the U.S. pregnant, if their children are born here, I don't think they should be American citizens. And it comes to that real definition of of the Constitution saying in the 14th Amendment, subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Is that inclusionary or exclusionary? Is that including the jurisdiction of the U.S.? Are they included under the U.S. jurisdiction, or is it exclusionary, where say if they have no other jurisdiction they are subject to? Are they then becoming U.S. citizens? Like, say, a Chinese person comes to the U.S., gives birth here. The Chinese mother, and the baby both are subject to Chinese jurisdiction because that's a Chinese national who gave birth to a Chinese citizen, because they get Chinese citizenship when they're born.
Yeah.
And if they're in the U.S. at the time and we give them, is that phrase inclusionary or exclusionary? Does it include that they are citizens because they are subject to the U.S., or are they excluded from U.S. citizenship because they are subject to a foreign power? Is that phrase exclusionary, that they can only be subject to the U.S.? So when they're born, if they're only subject to the U.S. jurisdiction, then they become citizens.
I probably think that's also tied to the loyalty. Ambassadors or such who come here, if they have children, they don't become a citizen. They are from their native country. They're excluded.
Well, that's the thing is, if
someone
comes to the U.S. and then has their child here, but then they actually try to stay in the U.S., you could argue that's a form of loyalty. They want to be in America. If they come to the U.S., give birth, and go back to China, they clearly want to be home in China. That's their nationality. They should not be getting American citizenships. It's like, if they come to the U.S. and give birth, they should, at the very least, already be trying to seek permanent residency before they even come in. But even then, that should be, if they leave the U.S. at any point, I would say that should be revoked.
Yeah. They're not designating their loyalty here, but you also have the issue with sleeper cells come here with the sole purpose of ripping this country down. They could have their children come here, already with the plan of raising them that way.
Even then, those aren't even sleeper cells. Those are people who are born in the U.S., they go home to China, get brainwashed by the CCP, and become weapons of the CCP. Then they come here to the U.S., and then they reside in the U.S. for 9 consecutive years, and then run for presidency. Mm-hmm. They are Chinese in every sense of the word. They only just resided here for the required amount of time to be able to run for the presidency. And that, I would say, is a serious, serious problem.
Yeah, it is a problem.
We should not... And that's the thing, too, is when you even look at it, I would argue one of the big mistakes our founders made was not requiring American citizenship, or even being born or naturalized in the U.S. to be able to run for any office in the United States.
We have too many.
Because there are a lot of people who are not citizens of the U.S., but they are legally allowed to run for office in various state or local elections, depending on your state and your city, that they shouldn't be holding office. There's so many of them that are actively hating on the U.S., and yet they're here in government positions in the U.S.
But a lot of them also still have dual citizenship. So if things fall flat here in the United States, they can just go right back.
Yeah, I know. They can just turn tail and run.
Yeah.
Because they're a bunch of turncoats. Mm-hmm. That's what they are.
So you need to swear loyalty and stick with it to the end. Choose who you're going to be loyal to.
Yeah. We'll see if this executive order from Trump pans out. Hopefully it does, and we actually can eliminate at the least, the birth tourism.
Well,
I would prefer to eliminate the birthright citizenship for anyone who comes into the U.S. and their children are born here.
I say maybe if they're applying for their visa, they have to go in person and do a pregnancy test. And then when they're trying to renew it again, do it again because they're only here for a couple months. You have to keep doing it, and again, it's like, nope, you're pregnant. Get out and get home.
Maybe.
They send you home immediately. I don't know what else to do. We need to
You know the
fix
feminists
this.
will have a heyday with that one. And it's a woman who proposed it. Pregnancy tests all the women before they come into the U.S.
Hey, it is fair. I support this country. I don't plan on going anywhere else. If you're not willing to support this country, then don't be here. I want this country to be great when my children grow up and not be a third world country, which it could turn into if it keeps going down this road.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, let's go ahead and hit up that next subject. So, New York City. Well, New York City is a joke. First of all, it's absolutely chaotic. We got this from the Post Millennial here. Libby Emmons, she is the is it Evans or Evans? Either way, she's the what is it?
Emmons.
Emmons, there we go. Libby Emmons. I believe she's the chief editor at the Post Millennial. I believe she's also co-founder. I'm not sure. She's wonderful. But this isn't her article. This is Thomas Stevenson guy. Apparently, New York City, over 200,000 votes are questionable. Not necessarily fraudulent, but they are questionable. Possibly tens of thousands of votes are fraudulent, and then up to 200,000 or more are very questionable as to whether or not they're even legitimate votes. And anyone who knows city elections, they're obviously much smaller than national or state elections.
Yeah.
The margins are always tighter, and it's like here in Utah, some of the cities around here, like Spanish Fork or Payson, Orem, Salt Lake City, you can have a couple hundred people suddenly show up, and all of a sudden the actual outcome of the election changes. And so the margins are much tighter, and so the threshold of fraud that you need to commit, if you're committing fraud, is much lower to be able to swing elections.
Yeah.
What do you got here, though, highlighted? Was there anything specific?
Yes. So the report claims that the margin of victory that socialist Mayor Zoran Mandani won by is below the number of votes. So the discrepancy. Up down here, it shows that the report claims that there were about 228,000 votes that were cast that can be brought into question.
And the margin's smaller than that.
By 207,570. So it's below that.
Yeah. Now, 207,000 is how much he won by. That's the thing, is that's so close right there between the two, the amount of potentially fraudulent votes to the amount that he possibly won by. That, because it's 207 versus 28. That's what? Freaking 11,000 vote difference between the two. And so you're really looking at whether or not 11,000 of them, well, yeah, no, because that's 11,000. If you can eliminate 200,000, basically, there's still that 11,000, then you're still looking at him winning, but by a much tighter margin. At, like, barely freaking winning at all.
So, Mandani got 1.1 million votes, and Cuomo got 906. Cuomo got 906,000.
906,000.
So it was just 207,000 votes were the difference. But up here, they were looking at roughly 1 million votes cast in the election. 7%, so 68,000 were from non-existent records. 6%, 59,000 fell into the 773 to 999 range of Social Security numbers, which they claim are not possible, and 10% did not live in the Big Apple, and 1% did not have any Social Security number.
And that's just 1 million of the votes cast. That's what they found, was a 7% non-existent records, 6% fell into this weird Social Security number range that shouldn't be mathematically possible.
So they had 2.2 million voters, And this is they just checked
It
1 million.
It sounds like there is either some fraud or some negligence, at least. But whether or not it actually changed the outcome is a fair question.
Yeah.
But Mamdani and his people are in charge now, so whether or not anything will actually happen doesn't really matter.
That's true. And it's just noting that in 2011, the Social Security numbers, like 773 to 899, were previously unassigned. They were introduced for assignment excluding areas, so these numbers are not ever used. The 100, the 0, 666, 900, 999. But down here, those who would have been able to vote with those numbers would have to be immigrants that became citizens and not natural born. As those born after 2011 would not have been old enough to vote. So these are citizens given these numbers.
Interesting.
Or new citizens.
So
given
likely
these numbers.
those numbers are not in an age range that they could have been natural born citizens that were old enough to vote. So all of those would have to be people coming into the United States.
Possibly.
And getting citizenship, but that's still, the number is so large that may not actually be the case.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and get on from this. Get off the whole election fraud issue. We all know our elections are a joke anyways.
Yeah, we don't know. It's just get out and vote. Try to change your country. That's all we can do. Right?
Yeah, that's all you can do is get involved. And that really does make almost all the difference, too, is just getting involved in the first place. Oh.
You're going to say hi to BK?
No.
No?
Okay, hi. I haven't talked to him nearly as much as I should.
Yeah?
Alright, so this, I honestly don't even know what to make of this, because it's just, how the hell is this place running out of water? Puerto Rico rations water for 48 hours at a time amid intense drought. So 48 hours at a time basically is they get the water they need for the next 48 hours, and they can't come back and get more until that 48 hours is up, whether they've used all that water or not.
Yeah.
So, talk about being in dire straits. It's a freaking island, or not nation, but it's a territory of the U.S. But islands like this typically get lots of rainfall, so the fact that they're struggling with water sounds almost like there's an infrastructure issue. What's the article say, Ben? I didn't get to read into this. This is one you found.
So, this talks about Puerto Rico will implement a water rationing because I guess 25% of Puerto Rico is experiencing a severe drought and another 36% is under a moderate drought.
Damn.
But they're trying to figure out what's going on, and their governor is suing, is suing the island's water and sewer authority. In late May, they sued them to find out what's going on. Where's the water?
Why would the governor need to sue them? Isn't that normally a state or government administered agency in the first place? So shouldn't the governor just be able to walk in with the police force and seize all the documents and do an investigation?
I don't know. They're just trying to get an answer, and
there's no requirement for warrants when the government's investigating itself. It can just go in and seize documents.
I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to be polite and kind, but the governor acknowledged the agency's infrastructure has lacked investment and maintenance for decades.
Yeah.
So they know that it's having some problems, but they don't know exactly what they are. And he is waiting for a response from the Sewer and Water Authority.
Is today like the last day that people can light off fireworks in Utah or something?
No, I think it's Salem Days.
Oh, okay. That's why we're hearing the fireworks going off. It may be Salem Days.
Yeah.
I'm just like, gosh dang, what is up with the fireworks going on right now?
So if you hear it, that's what's going on in the background.
Okay. That's actually kind of embarrassing that the cities we're right next to, I don't even know their own holidays.
What can I say? You and I are always working, so we didn't go and do that kind of stuff. Go to the parades and things because we were always working, getting ready for the next day.
So definitely keep your Puerto Rico in your thoughts and prayers.
Mm-hmm.
And if they ask for assistance, I mean, try and give donations where you can, because it looks like Puerto Rico's in rough shape right now with the droughts that they're going through.
The governor said she doesn't know how long the rationing measures will remain in place. And she said large trucks would distribute potable water with priority given to hospitals and residents for older people.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just concerned the drought is worsening, but thousands of Puerto Ricans were already experiencing water shortages up to a year before for unknown reasons.
What the hell?
So they've been going through this for a while.
So this sounds like it's infrastructure problems and something's being covered up by their water authority.
Or they spent the money somewhere else, or it was laundered out. We've been having that problem everywhere. The governments have
It
people in
sounds
there.
like there's an infrastructure problem. And and the water authority is either ignoring it as long as they can and now it's too late. Or maybe it's something that they don't even realize is happening. They're still trying to figure it out themselves.
And I felt bad because she also points out here in red, she worries most about bedridden and older people who are unable to haul heavy water that has to last you 48 hours, but water buckets into their homes and apartments. How are they supposed to get that water into their houses?
Kind of sad that this is the case in the United States.
Yeah.
Because Puerto Rico's a U.S. territory, so it's kind of sad this is a problem in the U.S. of all places.
But I brought this article up with all these data centers coming in. How do we know all of us won't end up in this kind of a situation?
Are there any data centers in Puerto Rico?
I don't know. That's
Look
not
it
something
up.
we looked at.
Look it up real quick. I'm curious. Maybe it's not an infrastructure problem. Maybe it's a consumption problem. No, PUERTO. Yeah. Several key data centers and coalition facilities.
So we don't know. We'd have to do a little bit more research on that part to see. But as we talked about in the last podcast,
The question is when were they built? If they were all like finished within the last 2 years, it could be that their increase in consumption they're not adapting for, and now they're running out of water.
yeah, but there could also be other reasons. At the very bottom, Puerto Rico previously implemented rationing measures in 2020 and in 2015, when some 400,000 utility customers received water only every third day.
Yeah.
So this is something going on. It's been going on since at least 2015, a decade. What are you smiling at?
Did you see what BK messaged?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
But still, so for a decade, they've been having this happening every once in a while. 2020, 2015. And the worst is they had to ration once every third day. You got
Holy
water.
Shit.
What if we get in that situation? We talked about the mine going up possibly by Heber. They're trying to stop it because they can expand for some weird reason. We've talked about...
Well, they're using obscure laws to expand. That's not really how the law was meant to be
And we
used.
have a data center trying to go out in Box Elder, which we talked about recently, and then the new one they're trying to do in Tooele.
Yeah.
The problem is we might end up in this kind of a situation if we don't get our water under control.
Yeah.
We have houses going up everywhere, and they're trying to build more data centers.
Yeah.
Where's the water going to come from?
Not here in Utah unless they're using our freaking wastewater, which I'd be okay with. I'm already done with it at that point. They can have it.
But
That's
still,
all these data centers are worth to me, really. I honestly think they're gonna... I don't know. It's still up in the air whether or not data centers are going to destroy us, or the AI is going to destroy us or help us.
Mm-hmm.
There's no evidence giving us hard proof in either direction.
And the article also mentions the rainfall in the next 2 to 3 weeks will be at least 50% below average.
Yeah.
So they're not even at average rainfall. They are way under average rainfall.
Yeah, so well, they're at average. They probably wouldn't be in a drought.
Yeah. All of us are in a drought.
Yeah, especially here in Utah.
They keep
We're
building these
suffering
data
bad.
centers. So any other comments about
And
this?
of course, like places like Mount Pleasant and Ephraim, the greenest, prettiest lawns are all the frickin' mayors of the cities and the city council. So I'm gonna call them out. It's like those cities out there, they're just, the governments are saying use less water, while the actual mayors and city council members are still guzzling down water to keep their lawns nice and pretty. The grass that does them no good.
Yeah. Our grass has some dead spots. We're still watering it a little bit.
I would just warn them, like, look, if your grass is green and people don't have water coming out of their faucet, they know who you are. Like, it's a small town. They know who you are. And you're not going to you're not going to see another election, really. You're going to lose your election. If this drought pushes us that far, you're going to lose your election.
Yeah. But you and I discussed the water issues here in Utah. We're worried about how the last article we covered last week, they're not telling the truth about how much water they're using.
Yeah.
The power plants use...
They're being very deceptive about how much the data centers are using. Let's hit up that next article.
Okay. Ready for it?
Yep. This is an interesting one. So, just a quick reminder of how public schools are not there for your children. They're there for the money they get off of them.
Yep.
Suburban school districts spend $8,300 to watch mom before forcing kids out of school. And even then, it's like, if the kid's going to that school and they're getting them on their rolls and they're getting money for them, why are they trying to kick them out? And I would say it's because they don't want inner city kids coming into their suburban schools, which is why school choice is such an important thing. Just get your kids out of public schools and get them into charter schools as soon as you can. As soon as you have an opportunity, do it.
Or even do a homeschool. The nice part is you have options to teach your kids. Homeschool, charter school, find a different public school.
It's like the worst charter schools out there are still better than your normal or even best public schools.
Well, they're tailored. We have military academies here in Utah. We have an autism academy. You have what you need. Focus on what you want.
Yep.
Hybrid ones.
Absolutely. Get your kids out of public schools. And how sad is this? They're spending this money on a private investigator just to spy on a citizen, a resident of the state, just so they can figure out that their kid shouldn't be going to that school and kick him out. All this parent is trying to do is get their kid into a better school.
No, the school district believes that they do not live at the address that they listed.
Yes, because they listed the address so they could go to this school because it's a better school than probably the shitty inner city school that they would be going to.
No, it says that they do live there. It's just that they spend a lot of their time caring for her mother who has cancer.
Oh, okay. Well,
and they
neither here nor there.
And they don't see them go through the front door. And she explains there's a side door that goes to where they live in that house.
Yeah.
That's why they never go in the front door.
So they legitimately live there.
Mm-hmm.
But the city, or the school district, it's still, though, spending money to spy on them. Honestly, like that should already itself be a crime right there. You're hiring a private investigator as a city to spy on a citizen of your area.
But do you want to see how they're?
It's a school. I keep saying city, but it's a school district. But either way, it's a government entity spending money to spy on an American citizen without a warrant.
Mm-hmm. They're also using possibly license plate readers.
Yeah.
Because
If you use a license plate reader, there is a statistically high chance you are a pedophile or a criminal. Just saying. Just gonna say it. I don't care.
okay.
If at this point, it's like the amount of abuse that we are seeing with those AI data cameras, those AI security cameras. It's absolutely absurd. But yeah, this is pretty sad. A freaking school district spending literally thousands of dollars to spy on a resident just to try and kick them out of their school. Do they have multiple residences in? Technically, they have another place that they, on paper, also live at, but they primarily live at with their mom to take care of her?
No, they live at that one house, but they spend a bunch of time at her mother's house who has stage 4 cancer.
Oh, okay.
That's why they're saying you don't live at that house, because that one house is
their
a
house
multi-generational
their house is in the district.
It's a multi-generational house, so
their house is in the district, but then they go to her mother's a lot because she has cancer to help take care of her.
Yeah.
And so they hired a private. First of all, publish the name of the private investigator. Let's blast this person out there for how terrible of a private investigator you are.
It's investigators, so more
To
than
be
one.
well, yeah, so it's probably one company with multiple people doing the investigation. How terrible you are at your job if you can't even identify someone's residence properly. Like, you're pretty crappy at your job. So let's get that straight. Get them out of the frickin' business of actually investigating anything, for goodness sakes.
So here it is. So Guzman, that's her last name,
Yeah.
and her 4 children live in the garden apartment of a multi-generational home. Multi-generational home. Sorry, multi-generational home. So
She does that a lot with words, by the way.
I'm talking to little kids all day. I mess up on words now, okay? I'm trying to teach them how to say it.
I know.
But multi-generational home. She lives in the garden apartment. So it could be like a mother-in-law apartment. Not even part of the main house. You're not going to see her going through the front door.
Yeah, that sounds like they screwed up, and honestly, they should probably take the money that they spent, times that by 5, and then give that to her as compensation for them, one, violating her rights. They should be getting a search warrant, not just hiring a private investigator who probably broke the law a few times. Well, technically, he didn't break the law, but if he were a government employee, he would have technically broken the law, probably.
But this is not an isolated case.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
An NBC5 Response investigation uncovered dozens of suburban school districts using surveillance from license plate reader cameras to private investigators to determine who gets to attend their school.
Why do schools have any authority to be using license plate reading cameras?
Well,
period.
This right here. Districts spend roughly $2,000 a year per student, $20,000 a year per student, and every student found to be ineligible is one less student they have to pay to educate. They get the money, but they get to pocket it. They don't have to actually kind of fork it out for their education materials.
Yeah. Well, that explains like why here in Utah they've got $4 billion in investment accounts rather than using that to raise the pay of their teachers.
But this is weird. It's a public school, but after they ruled she needed to leave the school district immediately and charge tuition for the months the children went to the school. It's a public school. Why are they charging her?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
So either this is wrong in this article or it's true. They're trying to force her not to come back.
If it's bad for the government, statistically, it's true.
Yeah.
It's like that one comedian, I can't remember his name. He's just like, you don't believe in any conspiracy theories? Talking about how that's the craziest belief to have. Like, you think the government is just batting 1,000 every time. It's just telling us the truth. Like, that's the biggest conspiracy, is the belief. Though the craziest conspiracy is the belief that the government's being honest or just in their actions.
They're not. They're not being truthful at all.
Like, if you just always assume the government is there to screw you over, then statistically, you'll do okay because you're prepared for it. Because they're there to screw you over.
Mm-hmm. That is true. That's why I'm very suspicious of all these data centers.
Yeah.
I do not trust
I
them.
know a lot of people who are cops. I know a guy who's a chief of police of a police department. And they're all great people, the ones I know. But that's them personally. It's like whenever I'm pulled over by a police officer, I never assume good intentions. I just never do. Because there's so many cases where things have gone wrong and the police officers have either been fired or criminally charged for it. And I think that's actually what our next article's for. Hit that up.
Let's see.
No, it's not.
Nope. Let me see. Let me find it.
Where is it? We can probably skip. I think I actually slated it for us today. I thought I slated it for us today.
This one?
Is that her?
The officer?
Yeah. Bring that forward up to the freaking AI ones anyways. There we go. Officer allegedly used flock license plate cameras to track boyfriend's ex-wife, police chief says.
And they keep saying they don't get misused.
They get misused all the time. Now, I will admit there are a lot of police departments that are trying their best to prevent any kind of misuse. But man, is there a lot of misuse going on lately.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And it's bad. A North Carolina police officer has been arrested for allegedly using flock license plate readers to track her boyfriend's ex-wife. Officer Elizabeth Snowman allegedly accused... accessed the system 31 times.
You do it
for
too!
For personal use. Holy crap. 31 times. This is stalking. This is stalking. That's what that is.
Or she think her...
Or she
her
just knows that the ex-wife is better than her anyways, and so she's just always trying to keep tabs on her.
Or she cheated with the husband before him and his wife got divorced, and now she's worried that he's going to try going back to his ex-wife.
Well, that's the thing. If he cheated on his wife, statistically, there's a good chance he's going to cheat on her. She's looking at the wrong person anyways.
I'm just saying that's worst case scenario. Or she just really stalk her and wants him not to have contact with her ever.
I think the moral of the story is bitches be crazy.
But the hard part is,
and look at her. She looks crazy too. Scroll down. Look at that. I mean, she looks crazy.
But she also accessed the cameras while she was off duty twice.
You know what? That should be what we do for female cops. Is you just when they're applying to be an officer, you just get a lineup of random men, show them like 3 photos of her in different scenarios, and have them just guess her level of crazy. And if the average is above a 5, she just gets axed from the list of potential officers.
Are you serious?
Partially.
Really?
She's crazy. She looks crazy. I would say that's at least a 6 crazy. At least a 6 crazy.
Okay. I don't know.
You're a 4 crazy.
Are you sure?
Yeah, that's baseline though for women. Women are minimum 4 crazy.
I wasn't that crazy until I had kids.
You're still crazy.
Not that bad. The kids have made it worse.
Oh, whatever the hell that last name is. Officers have to put in the reason for why they're using the flock cameras, why they are tracking this vehicle, and said Snowman allegedly listed most of the 31 trackings as motor vehicle infractions.
And that's the chief. So just say the chief. That's the chief officer.
If this is a document, they have to fill out a document as to why they're looking at it. And so if that's an official government document, she technically committed perjury 31 times.
Yeah?
That would be one of the crimes she would have committed is perjury. Does it list the crime she's being charged with?
No. But
No?
here, it also lists that the department is looking at 10 other potential misuse cases and said 3 look like they could be problematic. That's not looking good for using this system.
What city is this?
Which city is this? This is North Carolina.
No, what city though? It's just that's a state.
Mooresville.
Look up, do a search on how many police officers are in Mooresville, North Carolina. I think it's yeah. Oh, you clicked one high.
The mouse jumped. Sorry.
This is not just yeah. There you go.
109 approximately
Holy
on Google.
crap. That's nearly a 10% misuse ratio. If every single one of those is them misusing it or stalking people when they shouldn't be, that's nearly a 10% crime rate. And that's just that crime. Remember, if you have a concealed carry permit in the U.S., you are statistically less likely to commit a crime than a police officer.
Okay.
And that's nearly a 10% crime rate in their department. Police officers who are committing crimes.
Well, here's this. Do you think this is true? In Utah, the Garfield County Sheriff Office said Wednesday that a flock camera was vandalized within days of being installed. But because of that, the sheriff's office said it takes the privacy of our community seriously and stresses that deputies cannot search the system out of curiosity or for personal reasons.
Doubt it.
She searched for personal reasons? She got access?
That's the thing, what protections are there that actually guarantee that they're not capable of doing it? If there is any opportunity for a tool to be misused by law enforcement, then the law enforcement should not be allowed to have that tool.
Mm-hmm.
Period. And the only exception I would say to that is actual physical armaments, like a handgun or a taser. And that's the thing, they'll give officers so many tools nowadays, freaking baton, gun, taser, pepper spray. And it's like, just stop. Just give them like 1 or 2 things. Don't give them a whole host of different crap to use. The more options you give people, the harder it is to make decisions. It's just how it is. You look at fast food restaurants or any sit-down restaurant you go to, the bigger the menu it is, the longer it takes for people to place their order, the more options a police officer has at his disposal, the higher chance, I would say, there is that those options get misused or inappropriately used.
Yeah.
It's just give them a couple, and that's it. And just give them a nice, clean layout for use of force doctrine that's easy to understand, and that's it. Just finish it out there. But they keep adding tools and shit to police officers' belts, and it's just getting more and more confusing, and they're just adding weight that they have to carry around.
Well, would you like to hear the ending comment by the chief?
What? What's his idiot ass say?
He says, Chief Campersian praised the cameras, calling them a game changer when used correctly.
Oh, that's a huge caveat.
Mm-hmm.
When used correctly.
And going forward, Mooresville police officers will be required to attach a case number to show why they are using the cameras.
It is arguable that they cannot actually be used correctly. Actually at all. Like, period. And that's because of the Supreme Court case involving the dragnet warrants that they used on. There was that guy I gave the example before who had done the robbery. But in general, though, the dragnet warrants are considered by the Supreme Court unconstitutional. So when they're using these AI cameras, they're they're effectively executing a dragnet of everyone's data around it. 'Cause they're not just collecting license plates. It's bullcrap when they say that. It's a lie. It's license plates, images of the car, fingerprints of the car, just noting all the dents and scratches, unique features about it to create a digital fingerprint, which a fingerprint on your finger is considered private property. You can't just go and take someone's fingerprint. So you can argue that a fingerprint of the unique identifying features of a car does make that thing uniquely identifiable. And for personal reasons, I don't really care. But for government purposes, it should be outright banned. And then they're going and getting all this information of all these people in this area at the time. And now it's effectively they're executing dragnet warrants without actually getting warrants in the first place. Like that, and I don't care if the government has a contract with Flock Safety or whatever other company is doing it. We have another company that we're going to talk about a little bit. If the police department is requesting information from that company, it should not be, log into your user account. They should be forced to go and fill out a warrant for the specific information itself. The Flock should not be sending the notifications to them about possible violations, because there are people who've been dragged out of their cars at gunpoint because Flock Safety cameras made a mistake when reading a license plate. And I think the police department should get a slap on the wrist for that. But Flock Safety, they should be liable up to $500 million per case. A minimum of $100,000 has to be paid out to the person that got violated because of mistake from Flock Safety. Up to $500 million.
Yep. Just
period.
Like you said.
If because the violation, or sorry, we have it on there. Go to that Google search tab. Let's just pull it up. We're talking about it right now. The AI-powered automated license plate readers and their failure rates, basically, inaccuracy rates. The company claims 96% accuracy. That 96% accuracy might actually be correct if you're including all like traffic infractions, speeding ticket, running red light kind of stuff. But scroll down, let's look at this. So there in Roseville, California audit, deep dive review shows that there's 71% failure rate, right? This got a 71% automated stolen vehicle and felony alerts sent by Flock's machine learning software in 2023 contained incorrectly read license plates. These are police officers going up to scenes under the impression that this person is stealing the vehicle or is committing a felony. This is which is much more serious. This means that they may have to have their guns drawn when coming out to this person, depending on what the circumstance is. And 71% failure rate is terrible. Terrible. Now that's 71% of only the stolen vehicle and felony alerts. Now that 71% might fall inside the 4% of inaccuracy of the total Flock Safety cameras, but that's all speeding tickets and running red lights or stop signs. I don't care about that. I do care about it. I don't want them to use these cameras anyways, period. But the fact that any of these more serious cases where police officers may be going in on a higher alert status, thinking that it's more serious or dangerous, and is completely wrong the overwhelming majority of the time, is something that needs to be addressed. Flock Safety, every single one of those cases, that 71% of cases, Flock Safety should be liable up to $500 million in damages for. And if that's the case, they'll just get shut down. They won't be able to function because everyone could now sue them, and they'll just start losing money out their nose.
Yeah.
What's up with this?
So BK just gave a comments. I agree. I don't think any police department is actually using
Flock cameras within the constitutional framing. Yeah,
Yep.
no.
Rumor has it that it also picks up your IP from any electronic device. They talked about they're now doing Bluetooth.
I don't know about the
they're
IP.
starting to do Bluetooth a little bit.
I don't know about the IP, but I do know they are collecting digital signals and information from digital signals from devices inside your vehicle.
Yeah.
Not all of them do, but I believe all of them can, but not all of them do. It's a matter of turning on that feature, and I highly doubt. It's like, for example, Amazon with the Ring doorbell. If you don't have the membership, you can't view the videos that are all recorded of your door cam. But all those are recorded. You just can't view them until you pay for the membership. It's probably the same way with these cameras. Those features are already on. If the membership doesn't give access to that info on the Bluetooth, then they probably just don't have access to that info. But as soon as they pay for the membership, they can backlog to everything that is collected.
Yeah. That's
And I guarantee that's what's happening. Oh yeah, when flock safety gets you pulled over because they mistakenly read your license plate incorrectly, they are liable for filing a false police report. That is a crime. That's the thing, is it's a gray area. Because I was looking into it, and, well, the flock safety, it's the cameras, it's the AI itself that's actually sending the alert to police. And since it's not legally recognized as a person, it can't legally be charged with a crime. Which is a super, super huge gray zone of constitutional violations. And it's also a dangerous area because then it's like, well, one, if we do allow it personhood to be able to charge it, we also have to give it rights.
But also,
because we can't claim something's a person and not give it rights just so we can charge it. But then at the same time, it's like you're now arguing and discussing the very concept of what is personhood itself. And that's a legal battle we don't even want to get involved in. Just keep it as it is, but just make the company themselves liable. Not because they should, because I mean it's their software, they wrote it, they published it, they stand behind it. They should be the ones who are considered liable.
But there's the problem there. This might be their way of trying to make it so they are not liable, because this is not a person, it's a program. That might be their way around and say, hey, I can't get in trouble for this because it's not a real person.
Well, I bet you it won't be long before we start seeing the argument in court cases when people sue police departments. They'll be like, well, we're operating off of the information we were given. And so we can't be held liable when we were given this information, so they should be held liable. But then you go to the company and it's like, well, our data cameras just collect the data and then give police officers alerts to potential things that are happening. It's up to them to verify it. And so it's just going to be them pointing the finger at each other saying, no, it's the other guy that's responsible for it. It's the other guy that's liable for it.
Yeah.
And so what you really need to do is just make someone liable. And so if you take the law and you write it that, say you write it to that the officer who uses the flock data for law enforcement purposes, if that information is incorrect, they are liable civilly and their immunity is stripped, and that they can be sued for however much the people want to sue them for. And I bet you a lot of officers will avoid touching that shit. It'll be like the plague to them. And then vice versa, if you just make it, to where the company, like Flock, is liable up to $500 million for each instance, I bet you very quickly they'll stop giving alerts for things on stolen cars and other felonies, and they'll only stick to traffic tickets because that's the only area that they can guarantee a level of accuracy.
Mm-hmm. But you want to talk about this part, Flock's defense.
Oh, yeah. In response to the Roseville audit, a Flock spokesperson stated the 71% error rate was an outlier due to unique deployment, quote unquote. The company noted the city purposefully positioned older hardware higher, further away, and strictly facing the rear of the vehicles to protect driver privacy, creating suboptimal conditions for the AI. If your AI can't do the job, then just admit it can't do the damn job. Mm-hmm. Just admit it. All they are doing is trying to point the blame at them for doing it the way they didn't recommend doing it. Like, oh, you don't want to use their facial recognition, so that's your fault. It's like, no, just shut up and just do the job right, or don't do the job at all. Mm-hmm. And that's how it is for my work. It's like, you shut up and do the damn job right, or you don't do it at all.
Yeah.
If you can't do it right, get the hell out of the trench, is what it is.
So, you want to talk about Massey? His comment
about
Flock cameras?
Let's get to it. Massey bill would bar funding to police using Flock license plate readers. So I believe it's not specifically police, but it's just law enforcement funding from the federal government to cities where they implement and use Flock safety or any other. Is it specifically Flock safety cameras? Because Flock is just the name that's out there.
It is automatic license plate readers.
Okay, so any of the automatic license plate readers.
And it is municipalities and police.
Yeah. So, because hit up that next one real quick, just to show that. So what's that? Axon license plate readers. So Axon. The thing is, there's multiple companies. We can't really view the article because it's they got a membership paywall on it. But you can go back though. But Axon license plate readers. There's multiple companies out there. Flock is just the name that made it famous.
Yeah.
It's like Zoom. You know what the Zooms were? Remember the Zooms?
Zoom calls?
No, the frickin' music players.
Yeah, Zoom. It's like
Zune.
Yeah, Zoom.
The Zunes or any of those, most people called them all iPods.
Yeah.
Because Apple came out with iPods first, and then the name just became synonymous with the device's purpose. Mm-hmm. And so if you wanted a personal music device for carrying your music around without having to have 1,000 CDs in a case, mm-hmm. you use an iPod.
Or MP3.
It wasn't just an iPod.
Or they called it.
It was
MP3.
iPod. It was Zune. There was a few of them, mm-hmm. but everyone just called them all iPods. And if they asked specifically, they'd say the brand, but everyone just called them all iPods because that's how it was back then. And we're probably talking. Who knows? There's probably a few of our viewers are like, "What the hell are they talking about? Zune, like the phone call app?" No. You poor child born after 9/11. You poor child. All right, yeah, go up. All right, withholding federal funding from thousands of police departments that rely on license plate reader technology would have real consequences for public safety, the spokesperson said. Don't give a crap.
They rely on it a little too much.
You know what? I agree with them. It has real consequences on public safety. It makes the public safer from being raided by police officers wrongfully over false accusations given to them by an AI that has no accountability. Well, just saying, it's happening. People are physically getting harmed by police officers when they're being dragged out of vehicles and whatnot. And the police officers are trying to do their job the best they can. But when they're being given bad information by an AI source that we know is giving them bad information and it's happening on the regular, is it really the police officer's fault? To a degree, because they should try to verify information as best they can. But it falls on these companies. I had a Cran MP3 player, and I bet you still have it someplace. I don't have mine, but I have my mom and dad have my iPod Touch still, babe. Remember that?
Yeah.
Way back when my iPod Touch.
Yeah.
When my dad was giving me a ride back down because my boss dropped me off up there in Orem instead.
Yeah.
And Dad was giving me a ride back home in their car, and I look over on the dash in the Mazda, and it says Kyle's iPod Touch. I'm like, wait, are you guys still using my iPod Touch? I open up the center armrest, and there's my freaking iPod Touch from freaking 2007 is when they came out in 2007, right?
I had an iPod Nano, so
No,
small.
I think they came out in 2009. And then I got it basically right after I got off my mission in 2010. Mm-hmm. And so that was the first thing besides the truck I bought from my dad, that was the first thing I had bought when I got home from my mission, was the iPod Touch. Because that was when you were able to now start playing games on handheld devices and stuff.
So.
And I loved it. I love that iPod Touch. I took such good care of it, and it's still working to this day, frickin' 15 years later.
And so continuing on with the article on flock readers and infringing on your privacy, what about the kill switch that they are going to be installing in vehicles? They may be attached to one of these surveillance things. If they think you are not capable of driving, it could be good.
Yeah.
But what if you're trying to get away from someone, you're panicking?
That is an angle we didn't think about, because they're putting the kill switches in vehicles is what they're trying to force on us now. Mm-hmm. And then these cars are becoming more and more automated. I mean, I love the work that Elon Musk is doing, but this is a danger that comes along with these electric vehicles and these very technologically advanced vehicles. Is they're going to have kill switches. They're going to be able to be shut off remotely. Are these cameras going to be able to include their data on top of the vehicle data that they may be able to get access to, mm-hmm. to say, oh, we're going to shut down your car and call police?
What about the test cars in that one neighborhood? You had 3 gridlocking the whole street because they couldn't decide who got to move first. And then another one, you had all the cars go into a single neighborhood and just block up the whole neighborhood area.
Is it Waymo? Tim Pool has mentioned that Waymo cars, they're automated driving cars that are taxis effectively. Mm-hmm. He's noticed that it's like when it's driving next to other vehicles that are just driven by their owners, it's actually relatively mild. Like it's very patient and moves over as needed when it needs to. But when it's another Waymo that it's driving next to, they both, like, for some reason, they seem like they're both competing to be first. And so all of a sudden they start speeding and going faster. And it's like, holy shit, this is a problem. Mm-hmm. Like, they can't just, like, create an automated system of priority. Like, but apparently they're not. And, like, the two are freaking, like, trying to compete almost, it seems like.
Well, how would you do the system of priority? Would it do based on the person in the car? Based on the destination, based on how much they're paying for it? What criteria would you have to give it a priority?
I don't know but they probably should figure something out, because apparently it seems like Waymos, when they're driving next to other Waymo cars, they're competing with each other to get to where they want to go, and that's kind of sketchy when a automated car starts competing for first with another automated car, and you might start running into some problems.
Yeah, or wait until people start hacking those, just like they hacked the water grid in certain areas recently.
But God bless Thomas Massey, mm-hmm. Good man, served our country well. He's trying to push some more of this good legislation forward to help get rid of support, basically, for police departments that are using the automatic license plate readers. Mm-hmm. So I get why police departments want to use them, but they're in a field that just because you can automate the field doesn't mean you should automate the field. Mm-hmm. because there's a lot of things officers can see when they're there in person that these cameras can't. And when you're sending them into a scenario saying that there's a potential felony or a stolen car going on, and it's not that, they end up responding very differently with that bad information. All right, next tab. Let's hit up the next story.
Okay.
Is it still AI? Of course.
Yes.
So this is actually quite interesting. I was doing some reading on this. So Utah company proposes self-powered AI data center. So what's the name of the company?
It is right here. Volition.
So Volition's the name of the company that's pushing for these self-powered data centers. But the company, the type of power source they're using is made by Bloom, which is a California company. So take it with a grain of salt. But it's a solid oxide, right?
Well, you researched that part. And I'm not seeing the name of that company in here, so you found on a different article. Bloom.
Yeah, solid oxide fuel cell is what it is. They operate off. And it's actually a pretty cool system. It still produces a lot of heat, but doesn't use water to generate the electricity. So that's actually something that's really cool about it. Actually, water is a byproduct of it. But this is the problem, though, is we got data centers going all up over Utah. We don't have much of an answer as to how we're even going to do any of this and where the water's going to come from. Because even if the data center is not, what is it, 20% of the water that data centers effectively consume is actually for cooling? There's the power generation.
It depends on which article you look at. I think it's roughly kind of between 20 and maybe 40%, but that's all they record to the public because that's all they're expected to.
Well, that's all that they personally use. But if it's a different company producing the electricity, there's still 80% of 100% of all the water used in their process is for power generation.
And they never have to disclose that amount. So you think you're only using this much,
you're using actually a lot more.
Build the power plant next to it, you never think about. But the power plant does not serve the public. It serves that one building. It
is funny, though, that we're in the 21st century and we still haven't gotten past steam power. Like nuclear power plants, steam power, coal power plants, steam power, natural gas plants, steam power. We're still using steam power to do a lot of the electrical generation in general. But this is this whole solid oxide fuel cell is actually quite interesting because they've got the oxidizer in there. It pulls oxygen from the atmosphere, and then it pulls the natural gas from the line, puts them together in a high heat and under conditions where they can't combust. But then they still produce a crap ton of heat during the process, and they actually produce carbon dioxide and water as a byproduct. So it's actually pretty cool. They still produce a lot of heat, though. Apparently, their operating temperatures are anywhere from 500 to 1,000 degrees Celsius.
But didn't you say the batteries or those cells would have to be replaced every
5 to 10 years? 40 to 80,000 hours under continual operation. But, I mean, they sound like they do better in colder environments, but there's a way to generate electricity, though, at least without freaking water being boiled to power a steam engine.
But we don't know for sure if they're going to not use water. They are not specifying. We need to hear their information.
I know. Well, this company, that's what they're pushing. Volition, is it? They're pushing for these self-powered data centers using these solid oxide fuel cells, is what it is. So that's actually quite interesting. That's actually something I could get behind because especially since most of the water usage in this is in power generation for these AI data centers. And so if you eliminate the power generation and then you have the cooling for the plant itself, the data center itself, say they use our sewer water. I mean, at that point, they're not really They're just using the byproduct of all of us, which I'm okay with that, with my shit going through their system.
Yeah, but I'm worried about this part, that they might be influencing it to cause more problems.
Yeah.
So the minutes say, this is the minutes from the meeting on apparently April 21st.
Yeah,
and we're
when
only...
it refers to anyone who doesn't know, when they refer to the minutes say, what it is basically it's the note taking by the official scribes or whatever in the actual town hall meeting. They've got a scribe, they write down everything everyone's saying, and then they actually have minutes. I believe they keep minutes for when the things were said, so they can go back 5 minutes and read the notes that we had just gone over, the stuff we've gone over.
Yes.
And whatnot. Go ahead.
But the thing I'm concerned about is the minutes say equipment value is estimated around this, $1 billion, and that the Volition team would continue working with the city on ordinance updates, enrich infrastructure planning, and environmental documentation. Ordinance updates. They update ordinances. Apparently something about this may not be allowed in the town. And if they change stuff, it may open up a window for more of these to come in and cause more problems. That's the thing.
Yeah.
When you start changing ordinances, some of them are good when they prevent things from happening. But if you change some stuff, it also opens it up for new things coming in because it's now accepted.
Yeah.
It's now allowed. And you can't get around it not happening. That's the concern I have.
Yeah.
It could open up a problem if they are really changing ordinances to allow this to go through.
No, yeah, I can definitely agree with that. Because that's the problem, is when they change those ordinances, how are they wording it? And how is that going to be abused? It's like the mining issue here in Utah. They're trying to open up another mine somewhere, and they're using a law that says, oh, well, it has a similar mineral makeup. If an area has a similar mineral makeup and a similar history to the area that they're currently mining, then they can expand into that area to mine.
Without having to get any approval or anything.
And they can skip all sorts of approval processes. And the problem with that, it's like, that's not how it was meant to be used.
Yeah.
And the frickin' mining company even said if we wanted to open up a mine on Main Street in Heber, they could.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, if that's the case, that's obviously not how it's supposed to be used. And the fact that he even considered that as something he could possibly do already tells me the kind of moral character that he has.
Yeah.
He has no moral character. In case you didn't catch that, he has no moral character.
So that's what I was just pointing out with the ordinances. But I know we talked about how they were trying to change discharge water permits in Ohio to let them discharge certain data center water right into the rivers and streams.
Mm-hmm.
Then they shut that down. Same kind of thing. If they
because tests came back and it was seriously contaminated with actual
the people
chemicals.
threw a fit and said, no, we don't want this happening, so they shut it down. You have to do it individually. But that's just an example. If they change these ordinances too much, too vaguely, too broad, you could have so much stuff go in there, just like in another state. They had data centers trying to go in. The people fought it. They got it denied. Then they came back and sued them and won, and the data center's getting built anyway.
Yeah.
Because it's allowed.
Which is bullcrap. That's absolutely bullcrap.
If they make these ordinances too broad, like META, the ordinances are too broad, their powers are too broad, they can do what they want once they get their foot in the ground.
Pretty much, yeah. It's pretty much, it's bullcrap. All right, let's hit back to the other article.
Okay, that's just my slight
What
concern.
article were we on? That one there?
Yep, but we were just barely finished it. And it was this one, sorry. So.
Go back to the top. I didn't see the headline. Oh, this is the one we were on.
But
yeah, that's right.
Here's the things that are of importance. If you are here in Utah, they will have a meeting take place at the Heritage Room at the Library Hall on August 13th from 6 to 8:30 p.m., August 14th 2 to 4:30 p.m., August 15th 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m.
And where is this? Spanish Fork, or is this in...
We'll have to figure it out.
Sarasota
It just says
Springs.
the Heritage Hall or Heritage Room at the Library Hall.
Okay.
They're not exactly specifying. Weirdly enough, this meeting was done in Saratoga Springs when it's
Yeah.
supposed to be down here, so it could be all the way up there.
Well, so that's the thing is it for a new data center in Spanish Fork or a new data center
It's supposed
in
to be here.
Saratoga
It's
Springs?
supposed to be here.
A Provo-based company specializing in AI data center.
Saratoga Springs Council meeting.
Yeah, Saratoga Springs. During the meeting, Volition CEO Jeff has proposed developing a sustainable data center infrastructure in Spanish Fork. So, yeah, why is the meeting in Saratoga Springs?
That's what I told you. It's so weird. Why is it being built? Why is the meeting in a completely different place? Is it to make it so people can't go to the meeting? Saratoga Springs is a pain about to get to during times when there's heavy traffic. Eagle Mountain is too. Hello? You thinking?
Lots of flags, you Islamic.
No, you just bleed red, white, and blue.
Well, I mean, it's either that or you look at the ugly insulation in the back. So that's your options there. A Tron flag for fun.
Yeah.
All right.
So, and that's the weird thing. Saratoga Springs can be a pain butt to get to during rush hours.
Yeah.
And I don't get why it's out there, but the city council expects to hold a public hearing on the matter during August 18th.
Yeah.
So set the time aside. We don't know the date or
Yeah,
anything.
this is about a data
It's-
center in Spanish Fork. I mean, they should not be having the meetings out in Saratoga Springs.
That's why I told you it's so
That
weird.
just screams that they're trying
Hide something.
to hide it from the people of Spanish Fork.
But in the article, they're claiming to be transparent.
Yeah. Well, that's not very transparent.
I know.
All right, let's go ahead and hit up that next tab. Let's get out of here.
Okay.
Is it more data center? I bet it is.
Maybe.
Yeah, I can see it right here.
Okay. So Nevada.
Nevada Energy Company sues data center in first of its kind fight over who should pay for AI build out. This we'll just kind of breeze over this one. Basically, what's happening is Nevada's suing the data center because the data center doesn't want to pay to expand the power generation in Nevada when this is one they're going to have to expand by 33%. Because that's how much data or power they're going to use. But the state doesn't want to pay for it because that means if they pay for it, all of those costs get pushed on to the taxpayers and to the utility payers across the state for something they are not consuming. So that's kind of the thing. It's like it's pretty straightforward. And honestly, I would agree that the company should pay. When it's that big of a change, the company should be paying for it.
Well, I guess apparently they're arguing a little bit because, according to a statement from Tract, Nevada Energy is refusing to deliver power it had promised to provide, while still demanding that the Denver-based data center developer begin $1 billion in grid upgrades.
Mhm.
So they're saying, basically, you're not giving me the power I need, but you're demanding money for the upgrades.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to do a kind of like a behind closed doors agreement and talk everything out. But Nevada says, nope, we're going to take it to court and figure out for sure who's paying for all these upgrades, because you're not giving us the $1 billion, or you're not doing the $1 billion to start upgrading everything. So
Yeah.
it's a contract issue between the two. They're trying
Yeah.
to figure it out. But who should be responsible for paying for upgrades for the infrastructure if things start causing blackouts?
Well, that's the thing. Is like if it's the infrastructure going to the public as in general, then it should probably just be the state that pays for those upgrades. But if it's if it's brand new infrastructure specifically, you don't need to bring that on screen, babe. I can see it.
It's not on the main screen.
I know, but I can see it on my phone.
Oh, yeah.
But if it's a company like AI Data Center that suddenly needs a massive spike in power that their system can't handle, then it needs to be going, it needs to be going to the company that needs to pay to, or at least help pay for those upgrades. That's the thing. It's like we were already talking about some time ago how, as a nation, about the problems with solar and wind power being inconsistent power generation in ebbs and flows based off the weather, for both of them based off the weather. And the problem that we ran into with that is our system is designed for a steady, consistent flow of electricity. And when you have pulses, increases and decreases back and forth constantly, over and over and over again, what ends up happening is you wear down the entire system. You start having these failures. And that's why you see this in countries and states that keep going to this green energy agenda. All these blackouts, these rolling blackouts, the brownouts they have, because they have system failures. They have to keep repairing because our system's not designed for that. And to be able to make it designed for that, there's it's a huge investment to be able to change it up, to be able to make it workable effectively. And the problem with these AI data centers is like they do need a lot of power, and it's consistent power, which is what our system's designed for, but it's the sheer amount of power they need. It's like the Box Elder County data center would use, what is it, like 2.5 times more power than the entire state of Utah.
It would use.
It was the
size
same
of
as New York City.
City.
Manhattan. It was the same as New York City effectively in power usage. And it's like, you don't need that. It was like 2.5 times or 2 times the amount of power the state of Utah uses in a year. It's like, that's absolutely asinine. The people here in Utah shouldn't be asked to fork over the money for that expansion of power grid to be able to provide for it.
They're planning.
Now they're planning to do the natural gas power generation out there for it. That's why they put it that's why they proposed it where they did, because it's right next to a major pipeline. And there's still questions with that, because they would need 100% of that pipeline to provide the power they need, but that pipeline is already operating at 50% capacity, sending gas to people who are actually using it.
Yeah, and
so you'd have to cut off all those people to be able to provide with that. So you're still looking at a whole new pipeline. And I'm a pipe layer. I'm all for new pipelines being built. I love getting in a trench and building pipe, or setting pipe. But that's a serious question and concern that you have to address. Is it's going to take, no matter what you do with these data centers, there is going to be major infrastructure improvements needed.
But that's also
Period.
a big question about all of this. A lot of these data centers, they want to do natural gas. Do we have enough natural gas or natural gas pipelines easily available to supposedly in a year to hook them all up?
The quantity of natural gas is not the question. The problem, as you said, is the pipelines. Is actually having pipelines to be able to transport that gas, and that takes time. It takes a lot of time.
And those other states down that pipeline's going to, it is on the west coast and up a little bit. What are they going to do if the Stratos project takes all of that natural gas? But then they were even looking at, we were concerned they may not even have enough natural gas to satisfy that data center at max build out.
Yeah, and to give perspective on this though too, it's like the Santaquin pipeline that we put in, the 5 miles of 5-foot pipe that we put in, that took about a year for us to actually set the pipe. The whole project is about 2 years, everything that took. And then that was only the last phase of the entire project, which took 17 years to do that pipe. But then you also have to consider that one pipe is only an extension from the very first one when first funding was passed, and that was 70 years prior. Well, prior to us finishing the pipe. It's like, these major pipelines, they're huge projects. There's all sorts of red tape to navigate. They're always done in these phases because you can only really do it part by part to be able to actually be able to get it done, because you can only focus on one area at a time, and you end up having decades sometimes from when the project starts to when it finally finishes.
My concern is if they keep pushing all these data centers and building their own natural gas power plants, they might force the residents to get off natural gas. You need to switch to an electric heater to heat your house.
And that's inefficient.
Electric heater for heating your water.
Yeah, and that's inefficient.
Yeah.
It's because you're converting heat energy from natural gas to produce electricity. And here's the thing, you're saying that, but that doesn't make sense. And the reason it doesn't make sense because you're either using a natural gas to heat your house in the winter, or you're using a natural gas in Utah, for example, to generate the electricity that you're then using to then heat your house in the winter. And the problem is, because of the laws of thermodynamics, every step you take along that, you have a loss of energy. You have entropy happening. And so your efficiency is going down. So if you use electricity to heat your house in the winter, you're using more natural gas to heat your house than you would if you just used straight natural gas to heat your house.
I know, but I'm just giving that as a extreme example because they want us to become dependent on the government.
Well, I know
that kind of stuff.
Ultimately, they want us to be dependent on the government. So if they can make everything go to electronic, then the government can just shut off our heating in the winter when we blurt out some wrong thing or an opinion they don't like.
Yeah, that's just what I was trying to lead to. Extreme
realistically, we're still a ways out from that, even though they are trying to get to that.
Hey, some places are trying to outlaw getting a gas stove in your house.
California, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We want to switch to a gas stove.
I don't even know if you can even call that a state in the United States anymore. That's really just the Soviet Union all over again. All right. Let's hit up that next tab.
Okay. Next one.
What is it? Is it the same story? Yes.
Good news.
So AI, this is kind of funny. In the first ever case in world history where eminent domain was being used for a good and moral reason, Nashville attempts to block controversial data center near zoo with eminent domain. City could force developer to sell the land for public use rather than $700 million installation. Brilliant flip of the script. Honestly, Nashville. Brilliant flipping of the script.
But so people are up in arms about this data center because they want to build it right next to the zoo. And that is the picture right here. This is the zoo. That's the data center. But
that over there is where the data center is going to be at?
Yeah, you see the whole loop here?
Okay.
But the interesting thing is they were only supposed to be doing a single story data center.
Well,
barely under
they're supposed to be doing both of them. They're only talking to the public.
That's all they revealed to the public.
They're only talking to the public about the single story one, even though they filed permits for the single story and the 3-story data center.
And that is a picture I got, or I might have gotten rid of it. Oh, here it is. There is a picture of it.
Okay, I see what you're saying with that loop.
They only told the public and the zoo about this. But when someone dug into the permits, they had already filed the permits for the other one. They were not talking to anyone about it. And when they were approached saying, do you have future plans for this? And they're going, no, we have no future plans. But they'd already filed the permits.
Yeah, they don't have any future plans because they already filed the permits. Those are their current plans, not future plans, babe. Yeah. Don't you understand technicalities?
Yeah. But... So you said this is good for eminent domain in a way?
It's the first case I've ever heard of eminent domain doing something good. It's like, we're just gonna freaking eminent domain this shit to get rid of your stupid data center before it gets started. First ever case where eminent domain has been used to help the citizens in the area rather than steal from the citizens in the area.
Yep. That is the
And
one.
by the way, I am a hardcore fan of absolute abolition of eminent domain.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Because I am so far into it, I want the Fifth Amendment edited. I want it to be amended again, because the Fifth Amendment, the very end of it, says that the confiscation talks about the confiscation of private property. No confiscation of private property without due or just compensation. Is it fifth or is it fourth? Might be sixth.
There it is. It is this one.
Yeah, right there at the very end. I was right, fifth. Nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. I am all for eliminating the last three words of that amendment, without just compensation. Just say, so all it will say is, nor shall private property be taken for public use. Period. Because all you limit, because the without just compensation says, oh, you can confiscate private property for public use. Mm-hmm. You get rid of without just compensation, all that says is you cannot confiscate private property for public use. Mm-hmm. Period. I am all for amending the Fifth Amendment to remove the without just compensation part, just so that way it eliminates every single eminent domain law in the country.
I can't remember which state it was, but we were talking about another state, and they were adjusting their eminent domain law, possibly, where if the eminent domain was done and you wanted to sue them back for it, once the court said, yep, they get the property, then you'd go on to the next one to decide how much it was worth. Construction could start taking place.
Yeah.
And you'd have to wait who knows how long until the courts went through everything before you ever got paid. And that could be years.
Well, I know there was the case. There's a property owner, their property was confiscated by the city. And then the city changed their plans after the fact, after they already got hold of the property. Mm-hmm. They held on to it for a while. Plans changed, and so they didn't do the project they were going to use it for. And so then they turned around at that point and decided, let's just go ahead and just sell off the property to developers. Well, the guy sued and said, no, you confiscated this under under eminent domain that you're going to do a public use, a public works project. They didn't do it, and the court ruled in his favor, saying, no, you guys cannot just sell off this property. If you take it under eminent domain, and then you don't do the project that you were initially planning, you must return it to him. And so that's what they had to do. They had to return the property to him. And in my opinion, the money that he got paid initially for it, he should keep. Period. Yeah. It's like, no, you guys changed your plans. That's on you. That's not on him. He doesn't have to pay you for it. He gets to keep that money as well. And I don't know if the case that's what was ruled too. That's just a little addition, in my opinion, that once they pay out that money for eminent domain, it's done. They can't get that back from the person, even if they give their property back to them.
So hopefully they go through with it, and they can get the eminent domain to go through, and the Nashville Zoo does not have to worry about it.
I really don't want to root for eminent domain, but my goodness, it's like which of the two things I hate the most right now am I gonna root for when they're competing against each other?
You used to work at a zoo. You volunteered at a zoo years ago.
I'm not talking about the zoo. I'm talking about data center or eminent domain. I got two things that I hate that are competing against each other. Which one do I root for?
That's when you have to compromise and choose one over the other.
Well, that's the thing. It's like my hatred is equal. I am an equal hater of all things. I can't choose which one I want to hate more.
Then you have to apply it to each individual circumstance. So
I
in that
guess.
circumstance, who are you rooting for?
It's just it's just data centers are just popping up and being such dicks and lying about everything that they're actually making me root for eminent domain, which I really don't want to root for eminent domain.
Well, we're just concerned with water shortages. We're running out of water in a lot of places, and I don't know if it's going to get much better. You've discussed that we're in a warming period, so this might kind of become the new normal.
Mm-hmm. It might just become the new normal.
And we have to be wise with our water.
Yeah. It might just become the new normal. All right, let's hit up the next tab. Let's get to some better news.
So this is the next one.
Well, okay, this isn't very good news either.
It's good for water
Salt Lake
conservation.
City, I don't know if they passed it already or not. They want to limit non-residential water use to 200,000 gallons daily. Because we have some data centers in Salt Lake City, the metropolitan area.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is they do use a lot of freaking water. So that's probably what the limits around is, kind of capping it at this point, and then you can't use any more a day for that. But you think about that too. 200,000 gallons daily, how many households that is.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, man, some of these companies, they probably should focus on how they can not waste nearly as much water in their processes either.
But to me, this says that there is a water issue. So we need to stop building these data centers here.
Mm-hmm.
Because
we can't afford it water wise.
Mm-hmm.
Great Salt Lake has been shrinking for a long time now, and a lot of it's been the mining. But these data centers are not going to be helping. Mm-hmm. I don't know how that dumbass Kevin O'Leary guy thinks. I'll just call him Kerry because he's a male Karen. He reminds me, if you look at him, he kind of looks like a Karen, a male Karen. Let's call him Kerry. Because it's Kevin O'Leary, so let's call him Kerry. So Kerry freaking somehow thinks that he'll help the Great Salt Lake with his data center. I don't believe it. I think he's just going to end up destroying all the land up there for the uses it did have, for the few uses it did have because of the brackish water. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Salt Lake City is restricting water usage for non-residential because obviously no house. If you use 200,000 gallons at your private residence, you got a serious leak in your pipe, and I don't know how you haven't noticed it already.
Yep. And a public hearing is set for August 18th before the vote, and exemptions currently include agriculture, schools, government facilities, places of worship, and hospitals.
Yeah.
But obviously they're realizing we need to figure this out. What's going on with the water?
I don't know why places of worships would be exempted. Because the most water I can think of churches using is just a baptismal font. Mm-hmm. And those aren't 200,000 gallon pools.
I just thought of one.
What?
The mosques. They have to wash their feet before every single prayer. 5 times a day. You have to have plenty of water.
I think that's 200,000 gallons a day,
I know,
though.
But if you have quite a few in the same area, that could be a decent amount of water that gets used because they're washing their feet 5 times a day. How much water are they going to use? And they don't want to use someone else's water.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, I wouldn't take the Muslims seriously when it comes to cleanliness anyways. You look at what they consider clean and unclean, it's a freaking joke. But
hospitals needing a lot of water, that makes sense.
Hospitals
for sanitizing
make sense.
and cleaning and washing.
Hospitals make sense because they need to sanitize everything, they need to wash everything. Mm-hmm. And you don't want to restrict them because you don't want them to get stingy and then make a mistake on sanitation. Mm-hmm. Because that can have serious consequences.
I'm glad they
government facilities, kind of bull crap. The government obviously is going to exempt itself from the rules. Schools.
Yeah, the kids are in school.
Are they really using that much each day, though? I don't think they're using that much each day.
But it could be some of the bigger schools. The 5A or 6A schools.
If they want to save money, all they just got to do is just turn off the water on the urinals. The men's bathroom will stink a little bit more, but it'll be fine. But what was the other ones?
That's
Agriculture, I mean, obviously, but there's not a lot of agriculture anymore in downtown Salt Lake.
Yeah, but I am glad that they are listing that as an exception because so many of these data centers are trying to be built on these farms. They're trying to take these farms away. Where are we going to grow our food if we hit World War III?
Yeah, I know.
We need those farms.
All right.
Next one?
Yeah,
Okay, we're almost done for the night.
I know, right? We got a lot of tabs open there from us doing searches, don't we?
Yeah.
All right, news for Anchorage, Alaska Temple. BK will be interested in hearing this, right?
Hopefully.
He's up there in Alaska. But so Alaska is getting a new LDS temple up there in Anchorage. I believe there's already one. That one's going to close down. From what I understand, it's closed down. The First Presidency of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has announced the Anchorage, Alaska Temple will close on March 22nd, 2027. The new Anchorage, Alaska Temple being built nearby will open for public tours in May 2027. Yeah, I think it's just the current Anchorage, Alaska Temple is being closed down for renovations.
It says an artist's rendering of the reconstructed Anchorage, Alaska Temple. So
Yeah.
reconstruction and
Yeah.
this is how it currently appears. The
Okay. Really? I like that more personally. Oh well. Either way. Probably could make it more efficient because there's a lot more members up there. Because some of those are, like Anchorage, Alaska, when was it first built?
I'm not exactly sure. I'll have to look for that information.
Because if it was first built long enough ago, then it's probably built around older endowment sessions. And so they may just need to modify it.
Well, they're making the temple bigger. I'm thinking so.
Oh, are they?
The temple.
So they're expanding the temple. And then they're building a second temple because there's so many members up in Alaska now.
So the temple square footage will increase from barely under 12,000 square feet to approximately
Holy crap.
30,000. So
30,000? How big? Type in square footage of the DC temple. Because right now the DC temple is still the largest temple in the world.
Okay.
There you go. Oh, wow. I severely underestimated its square footage.
Yeah.
Okay. Woo.
156,000.
I severely underestimated its square footage. Let's get back to the Anchorage, Alaska. Let's stop embarrassing Anchorage, Alaska real quick. Because, yeah, the DC temple was built, back then it was, when it was built, it was basically servicing the entirety of the East Coast for all the membership that was back on the east, back east at least. So they're expanding it to nearly 30,000, so they're just increasing its size, and then the new temple is going to be opening up, right, for tours
In May.
2 months after that one closes.
Yes.
So if you're in Alaska, go take the opportunity to go do the open house. And there'll probably be 2 open houses because the other temple's being renovated to expand in size.
Yeah.
So go to them, check them out. It's I've been to a few open houses myself. I love them, absolutely love them.
Well,
Beautiful,
they're building
beautiful
this one
buildings dedicated to Christ.
They're building this pretty quickly. So construction began on Alaska's second house of the Lord at the Fairbanks, Alaska Temple in 2025. They're expecting the open house to be next year. May 2027.
May 2027. Nice.
And
They're getting it done pretty quick.
yep, it will be reconstructed.
And so that's what it will look like now,
uh,
after renovation.
after it's done. Because I guess they...
That's the first one they're going to close down in March.
Yeah. No, so I guess they're fully replacing it, it sounds like. The address of the reconstructed temple will be Anchorage, Alaska. Once the temple is dedicated, the current temple will be decommissioned, and a new meeting house will be built on the existing temple location. So
okay.
they are fully tearing it down to
Really?
make a new temple that's just larger. They have 33,000 members, I think it said.
Oh,
in
okay.
that
So yeah,
count.
I did misunderstand. They're completely getting rid of the old Anchorage, Alaska temple,
Maybe
building a
they,
new one.
maybe they just saw there were some issues and they needed a larger piece of
Probably
property.
a lot of updates. One for the temple session, actually changing the makeup of the building, but then two, um, probably code issues too. They because it was built long enough. It may have been built long enough ago. They may actually want to update it with the new temple.
Yeah, it was dedicated. The old temple was dedicated by Gordon B. Hinckley in 1999.
Nice.
The temple is 1,400 miles northwest of the nearest temple in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada.
Dang.
So
Yeah,
they
that's a
just
long ways to
decided
go.
they needed a bigger temple, and who knows? Like we said, there needed to be a bunch of upgrades. They needed a bigger piece of property, so why not demolish it and just change it into a church house?
Yeah. All right. Well, is that the last one for today?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
I think that's the last one for today. So if you're up in Anchorage, Alaska, go to the open house. Check it out.
Yep.
That'll be next year. What, May? Is what they said. May next year is when the open house for the new temple will be.
Yep. May 2027.
And on that note, that'll be after the Salt Lake temple is already doing its open house too, huh?
Yeah, the Salt Lake Temple is supposed to be doing its open house from between our two
birthdays.
our two general conferences.
Yeah, the two general conferences, April to October?
Yeah, so actually this is going to be barely before. No, it's barely after. Barely after, so two will be going at the exact same time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Big one for Anchorage, Alaska, at least. But yeah, who knows? It may not get all that much attention because everyone will be coming to the Salt Lake Temple at the time.
Yeah, but if you're curious about a
If
temple...
you can make it to Utah to see the Salt Lake Temple open house, you should definitely make it. A lot of people sweat, bled, and died building that temple. Okay, not a lot died, but there was a lot of injuries, including one guy. Well, he didn't lose his leg, though, in the construction. That guy, do you remember who I'm talking about?
No.
Guy who lost his leg and then still, even after then, got a peg and walked all the miles every single morning to go work on the temple. He was a stone cutter. I don't think I think it was something else. It wasn't from construction, but man, he was a dedicated person.
Mm-hmm.
He did not want to stop working on that temple.
I'm sad we couldn't go to see the San Diego temple, the open house for that one.
When was that?
It's I think it's ending soon or already ended.
Oh, is it right now? Okay.
Yeah. The big beautiful castle one. The pictures I've seen, it looks beautiful inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all the temples are oftentimes very beautiful on the inside. I'm happy they're changing up the look of the thumbtack.
Really? Some people are not happy about that.
I don't care what they think. The old Provo temple looks like a thumbtack, and I'm happy they're doing a renovation of it.
Because really, some of these pictures, they are beautiful. Let me see.
Oh yeah, because the San Diego got renovated and now it's reopening.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an old temple too.
It says public open house the 11th of July, so it's already ended. The rededication is the 23rd of August. So.
How many temples were there when we were kids? Was it like 15 or 20 or something like that?
It was close to 40.
40s.
Yeah, because
it was when your
12.
mom was a girl. It was when your mom was a girl. There was like 12 or so, and so they had them all memorized.
Could you imagine that, trying to memorize? And soon we're supposed to have, I think, over 300 temples once all of them are built.
Yeah, because there's a lot that are under construction right now.
But I've seen the inside of this temple.
I know, it's beautiful.
Like that. Is there a picture? So, that.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to go see that in person.
Oh yeah, no, the San Diego temple's beautiful.
And what other picture? Oh, this one? The baptismal font?
Yep.
The 12 oxen?
One for each tribe of Israel.
Ooh, this one. The bride's room, where you get ready.
It's so funny that you didn't get to spend like any time in the bride's room.
No, because it's literally, I get there, get dressed, go.
Yeah, they rushed you in and out so fast, and
We
you didn't
got-
get to spend any time just relaxing in the bride's room.
We got there late because there
I
was
know.
a blizzard, a snowstorm the night before. It was horrible.
I know. Yeah, weather was bad, timing was terrible. You didn't get to spend any time in the bride's
Yes.
room. What's sad is you'll probably spend more time in the bride's room with Kaylin when she gets married finally than when you spent in it when you got married to me.
And this is the ceiling room.
Yeah, no, those are nice ceiling rooms. I like those.
So why do we have the mirrors in the ceiling room?
Well, it's just a symbol of eternity.
Yeah, so you can see each other
Why
going
do you
on
keep asking
forever.
it? Just say it. Don't ask questions like that. Just say them.
I like this part.
I know, that's a cool feature. I wish a lot more temples had features like that.
I saw a video of this. It's open because you can see the wind moving the palm tree.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's cool.
I saw a video that the palms were moving. It's open.
Huh. That's pretty cool.
Look at that. That's for one of those steeples or the spires. That is beautiful. And the chandeliers.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a picture of something.
It's weird seeing white oxen when I'm so used to the gold-plated oxen
Oh.
we see so much here in Utah.
This. I saw this. This looked cool. These
That is really
like
cool.
stalactites that they were putting there to
Yeah.
kind of, they were thinking of this as kind of being, it makes me feel like it's kind of not here on Earth, so
Mhm.
gravity is not really there. But
Okay.
I thought that was beautiful, those columns.
I think it's beautiful, but I think you need to work on how you explain things.
I know, I talk to little kids all day.
I know.
My explaining stuff has been dumbed down immensely. Talk to
I
little
love
kids
you.
all day. You'll see what
I
happens.
love you. Oh, there's a good view of the baptismal font right there.
That one?
Yeah.
Look
that's
at
a
that,
good
the
view of it.
staircase.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful temple.
I like this one, the celestial room. Sitting there, that would be beautiful.
That's only part of it. I wonder what the other angle looks like.
There's a up higher area. There's some stairs.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
It's a multi-level celestial room?
I think so.
Why are all of ours so boring compared to that then?
I think this one, celestial room. See?
Is that?
Yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
it's the same area. It's beautiful.
That's freaking cool.
I
I like that.
That's why I'm kind of sad we didn't get to go. You see all this light?
I'm a
It
little
would be
jealous.
so bright and colorful.
Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and get out of here.
Where's your quote? Are
What
you going to read
quote?
from your propaganda again?
No, I'm not going to read from the propaganda or anything again. We ended on a pretty nice note. We'll stick to that.
Okay.
All right. Well, if you liked the show, remember to like and subscribe. It helps. And have a wonderful day. Get out of here.